How's it going, everybody? So, today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the new album from the band Empress. The name of this album is Fateweaver, and before I get into that nitty gritty, let's check out the cover. So, boom, check it out right there. Take a look at that. Really, really cool cover. I love the shades of blue, and with like the silver kind of really neat, some sort of warrior there. I wouldn't say quite like a knight, but there's definite armor, and they have a what appears to be a sword. They're unsheathing, getting ready for battle or something. And then you got these butterflies kind of flying around, to really kind of combining like nature with this. It kind of creates a more magical or mystical sense to it by having this warrior here and these butterflies kind of fluttering around. So it combines a couple different elements, one being like power or strength, of like a warrior, and then the other being like the earth and nature and stuff like that. So I really dig that. And again, I like the cover, the colors, and the way Empress is there, and the name of the album, Fate Weaver, down there. So it's definitely an album that you would look at and be like, oh, that looks cool. It almost looks like it could be like a video game cover art or something like that. So yeah, I really dig it. And as far as giving you an idea of what you can expect on the album, I think it does a solid job. I think you would pick that up in the CD shop and be like, this is probably some form of symphonic metal. Just between the name and the cover, I don't think you would go too far thinking it's like death or something like that, because there's a it just to me, again, it's difficult once you've listened to the album and all that stuff and you already know what it's going to sound like. But I think if you pick this up, your mind would kind of go to a symphonic metal type of deal. So I think it does that really well, also. So an A plus on both fronts. Solid cover that yeah, looks great and conveys what you can expect on the album. If you're unaware, just by looking at the cover. So yeah, I dig it. But let's talk about the album itself now. This bad boy's got 9 songs on there and comes in at about 47 minutes. And I'm going to be upfront with you folks. This ain't your grandma's symphonic metal. No, no, sirree, it is not. Uh, this is some heavy duty, powerful symphonic metal. I would go so far as to say it's symphonic power metal, and there are also some progressive metal elements scattered throughout. It, it, at times some songs lean certain ways more than others, but the progressive metal element is definitely there. But as I said, incredibly, incredibly powerful symphonic metal sounds created here. From the guitars are incredibly heavy, punchy, uh, deep, and chuggy, and just full of energy, and just really, really, pounds through the songs. And as you're going, it just really has this layer of yeah, aggression's not really the word I'm looking for necessarily. Granted, there's definite moments where the music sounds aggressive, but it's more of just like you know just very earth shattering, just very earth shattering, and just serves as this. It's almost like an earthquake, you know, like the album. It's as if you're on a fault line, and the guitars are the earthquakes, from you being on this fault line, and that kind of serves as like, I would say the I tend to use the word a lot, the lifeblood or whatnot of the album. It's like that's what it's woven throughout the whole album is these really earth shattering guitars. So I would say that's really like the fault line, around, say the album. It's like a town or whatnot. The fault line running right through the town, I would say, is the guitars. Yeah, just really heavy, really, really chunky, and man, it just sounds so good. The mixing and the mastering and the production of the album is very, very well done, because at times there is a lot going on, and you can still distinctly hear everything, but everything really packs a punch. So yeah, I mean, just stellar guitar riffs. You get some solo work, some real technical riffage and shredding going on, but predominantly you're getting just these really heavy riffs that just, oh man, like I said, just earth shattering sound, and really kind of drives uh, just the direction of the music. So really solid job there. The drums also just very pounding, and it's a hard hitting album. It's a hard hitting album here, folks. Like I said, I'm not kidding. It's not like the more poppy kind of symphonic metal or anything. No, this is like symphonic power heavy metal. I would say because oh man, it hits hard. Oh man, I love it for that. I love it for that. You don't often get that so much in like a female fronted symphonic metal band. You get some heaviness and whatnot, but like I said, it's different here. It just it's just got this power to it. So really cool stuff on that. And then the keyboard work and the symphonic elements, so good, so good. The orchestrations and all of that stuff, the arrangements of the symphonic elements, just absolutely stellar. Again, you kind of have the guitar kind of steering the direction of the music, but you have the symphonic elements that really kind of bolster it, really kind of enhance it, and just it enhances the sound. It like amplifies it in a sense. So it's like I said, you're like riding on this fault line, which is like the guitars, and it's as if you're kind of like in a maybe an echo chamber or something. So every vibration, every rumble, every sound is just amplified by like the symphonic elements and sound. So it's like you're just fully immersed in this just you know cacophony of heavy guitars and awesome symphonic elements. So just really cool, and again, it kind of balances really nicely with the super heavy guitars and then the symphonic elements. Even again, though, the symphonic elements are pretty aggressive here too. They're not just like you got some strings kind of just going in the background a little bit just to give a little ambiance. No, like I said, it really amplifies and drives kind of with the guitar work and has its own aggression to it. And it just sounds epic. It really does, and just gives every song that added grandiosity, that added epicness, that really kind of takes it from this base level with like the guitars to just another level. It just enhances the overall sound and scope of the music, and just gives it a extra quality. Just really great stuff. And like I said, the keyboard work is super stellar, without a doubt. And then so you have all this going, what I just described to you, and then you take what, in my opinion, could be the most powerful element of all of these things that I've already mentioned, the vocals. Wow. Wow. She has such a powerful and driving voice that can be anything she wants it to be. It can be aggressive, it can be melodic, it can be more tender at moments, more ethereal, and just anything. She really has complete control over how she wants her voice to sound and how to deliver it. And so you have like just what I've already described as the music, which is just a beast of its own, that's driving and powerful and strong and loud and all of that. And then you have her vocals. It's like I could see a lot of vocalists just listening to the music and being like, I can't sing to that. There's no, I'll be drowned out, or I can't match that furiosity if you will. Well, she does, and then some, because her voice may almost be the most driving force in the whole sound, which is just remarkable. It's as if she's like, how you see those, whether it be anime characters or like superheroes, and they're like flying or running like at the speed of light. And so you see behind them, like the world is like cracking and like there's like a whirlwind behind them of just everything erupting and exploding and all that stuff. That's kind of like, I would say, is like her voice, like trailblazing through, and then all of this raw power and everything, you know, behind her being created like in her wake, and it's all just kind of rushing forward because she's leading it, and it's kind of just how I picture it, and when you listen to it, I think you'll see what I mean. Incredible vocals, incredible vocals. I really can't praise them enough. Just her range is phenomenal. She'll go up and do like a gorgeous operatic style vocals, and then she'll just sing with a nice punchy and aggressiveness that again it's just full of just power. So just really remarkable how she's able to not only match the music, but even feel like she's kind of like driving it. So just incredible stuff. And there are some, it's quite sparing. There's not too often, but there's definitely some growls periodically throughout the album. Stellar, stellar. Sometimes, I always say like growls are just thrown in just for whatever reason and they're subpar or whatever. No, here, very solid. Very solid in my opinion, up there with the likes of like Alyssa White-Gluz of Arch Enemy, and it just really high caliber quality of growls here of whomever you can think of whose main vocal style is growls. It sounds that good. So really great. Whew. Anywho, I had to listen to this album a few more times than I normally do before I do a album thoughts. That's why it's kind of taken me so long to get around to doing one on this, because on albums that have a lot of kind of complexity and a lot to kind of digest, I want to make sure I'm comfortable giving y'all my thoughts and describing the sound as best I can. So I had to listen to this one a couple extra times than normal. So I usually always listen to an album 3 times before I do an album thoughts, because that's when I, will feel comfortable. Sometimes I'll feel comfortable pretty, after 2. I always give it at least 2, of course, but for the most part, it's usually 3. With this one, I think it was probably six times that I ended up listening to it, because I was going to do a thoughts after 5, but they got kind of late, and so I ended up not recording the thoughts, and then I listened to it again earlier today just for good measure. It's really good. So anywho, I'm getting kind of distracted, but yeah. So like I said, it's quite a complex sound. There's a lot to digest in here. There's a lot to really kind of just engage with, and a lot to kind of unravel. But again, that's good. It definitely gives the album longevity because you want to jump back into it and hear things you didn't hear before, or kind of hear it in a new light. And that's what happened with me the first couple times. Yeah, I was trying to wrap my head around how I felt about the album as a whole, but each subsequent time I listened to it, it's like my feelings toward it became more and more clear, and the sound kind of became more clear. Just, it was very interesting. So yeah, I definitely recommend multiple listens, because this album deserves that, because there's just so much in there. But it starts out with track 1, Legion, which has a little bit of just a nice melodic kind of not quite atmosphere, but it just a little bit of a lighter intro, but before things really take off, and the album doesn't really let go, once it gets going. And I'm not gonna go through each song as much as I normally do on this album because I feel like first of all it's difficult, and second of all it's a little bit of a disservice to the album because it the way it's all constructed and at the pacing of the songs and the way they just kind of lead right into the next song, it almost feels like it's all just one piece, and not individual songs. It's as if um, each song is like a different movement of one piece. So, it feels a little unfair to kind of break apart each piece because it's best kind of listened to as a whole. But, each piece or movement or song or what have you definitely has its own sound and whatnot. So, anywho, track two, Beyond the Sleep, that song, in my opinion, has probably the most of the progressive elements in it. It's the more like prog heavy track. It's really, really sick though. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it and dig it. I'm just saying that it's definitely the more prog heavy track on the album, in my opinion. Then you got Chimera, which was just kind of, that was released as a single, and it's just an epic in every way. And then you get into kind of the middle area of the album, I would say. It, Things get a little more melodic, a little bit more on like the power metal side, um, as far as the way the songs seem to be constructed. The beginning, like third or whatnot, is really just kind of like heavy symphonic metal with like some prog elements and some real aggression and stuff like that. The middle, the second third, I would say is more on like the symphonic power metal side, where it has a little bit more of like the power metal elements, where kind of some soaring sounds and uh, really melodic and stuff like that. Track six, Monarch, is one of my favorites on the album because it just has really cool elements to it. And there's one spot in particular that I just love where it's kind of spoken word, and then in the background you kind of hear like the music just kind of serving as a backdrop, and then you also have her like operatic vocals kind of going at the same time, and it just sounds so cool with the spoken word on top of all of that going on. It's just sick. So I really dig that. And then once you get into track seven, like the final third, I would say is a little more just kind of like on this the more like traditional symphonic metal side. And again, I'm using these classifications very loosely. It's just kind of where it all tends to lean, in my opinion. But the aggression is pretty much ever present. And it closes out really, really amazing with track nine, Eventide. It just really showcases her vocals and, very melodic, and it just a great track to kind of not unwind, but to, it just ends the album on a really, really great note to where you don't feel like left hanging because this really is a roller coaster of an album, and so it kind of eases you off of it there at the end, but while feeling epic and everything. Nothing is sacrificed. It's just you don't feel like all of a sudden, boom, that's the end, and it's like the cart stops and you go flying out the front or nothing. It's like, it kind of eases you in, eases you off, and makes you just want to get back in line and jump right back on the coaster for another time round. So just really, really well done. Like I said, exquisitely produced and mastered and mixed and all of that stuff, and orchestrated. The arrangements, the songwriting here is really, really top notch. And if I were to give you a song, if you're gonna give the album just one chance, and you're like, just tell me one song for me to listen to decide if I want to hear the whole album or not, I would say go with the single Chimera, because it really is an epic track, and it, in my opinion, it contains majority of all the elements that you'll hear throughout the whole album. So it's a really, really great song for you to get acclimated with the scope of the sound, the vocals, the like the arrangements of the, and the songwriting, the movements, and all that stuff, because it really just, in my opinion, contains the essence of the whole album really in that one song. So I would say check out Chimera. It was released as a single, so yeah, do that. And if you dig that, then you will absolutely love the album. And yeah, my final thoughts on it, just really solid. A really kind of refreshing sound in the symphonic metal genre. Really powerful, really top-notch musicianship, and absolutely incredible vocals. And yeah, I mean, it's a powerhouse. As simple as that. It's a symphonic powerhouse, and it's definitely one that you don't want to miss. This is yeah, something you don't want it to pass you by. So yeah, really, really dig it. Go check it out. Let me know in the comments down below if you've listened to the album already. What are your thoughts on it? And we'll talk about it. And that's what I got for you folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you all next time, Ranger.